Hi, welcome to the Nexus Maker Ed podcast on Maker Education with me, Caroline Keep. So today I'm with Sonya, who is brilliant, from Create Education. So if you've not heard of Create Education, the company that's dedicated to helping educators use 3D printing, and you loan out printers, you do lessons, you do CPD, you do everything. And I'm one of the Create ambassadors, so awesome people to go check out. You can check them out on their website. It's just Create Education. You look at all the lessons sort of stuff. So I thought I'd ask Sonya in today. So she's coming to Spark because we've been working out like Maker Ed based stuff that we're going to do together. So what do you think is, or how do you think you'd sum up what the kind of thing is that you do in Create? Because you're ex-teacher, aren't you?
Yeah, I used to teach design technology. So it's all about just helping to support 3D printing in education, everything. You know, so it's not just selling a box, a 3D printer, and leaving people to it, because actually it's all about it's about what you do with that box. Okay, there's no point putting a 3D printer in a classroom. It's a very expensive ornament. So it's how you use it, not just in design technology, not just in secondary, but how you can use it from 4-year-olds all the way up through the whole of education, further and higher education, and lifelong learning as well, through things like libraries and so on. Across all subject areas as well. So it's not just about STEM, it's not just about design technology. You can use 3D printing to have a rich literacy curriculum, for example, and all sorts. So
and
you
use it loads, don't you?
Yeah.
You do loads and loads of support because you've got the Create Connect website, haven't you?
Yeah.
So that's where we all kind of chat.
Yeah, so that's sort of like
relatively new.
Yeah, it's really new. We've only launched it in January, and it is a platform for STEM educators to just get on and share. It's a nice, secure environment. It's not like sort of being on a Facebook group where you've got all those issues around privacy and stuff like that. It's for educators only, you know, and they just talk, and they can join groups, set up their own groups. They can be private, they can be public.
I've got one for Making in Education on there, the Society of School Makerspaces on there.
Share projects, what you're doing in class, chat about them, help each other, support each other, because we can support you, but actually the whole community can support each other, and actually if they've got one place where they can all go and help each other, that's just
You've also
great.
got a whole bunch of lessons that you've done that I love. Sonya's lessons are epic. So she does a whole bunch of structured lessons that are really easy, so if you're brand new to it, just download one of the lessons. And then you can kind of get going with it sort of almost straight away, can't you?
So the idea is we're not going to produce a curriculum for 3D printing, because it doesn't really always work like that in schools, because you've already got your own curriculum, and you might just want to say, well, how can I add 3D printing into it? How can I adapt what I've got already? Can I just change this project a little bit to, put the 3D printing element in it? Or can I have a new project that sits alongside, but I've only got 4 weeks, so what can I do in that time? So by just putting a whole load of ideas and projects out there that are different lengths, different structures, with teacher guides that sort of take you through step by step how you can set up that project, how you can deliver it, some resources for the students to use, and so on. So then you can pick and choose what you like.
You're the only people that I've seen who do that, like I do it when I do it for Create, where we have resources for the actual kids as well. So we do, I've seen loads of Maker Ed stuff, and it kind of comes up, and you have a lot of that's online, but you're the only ones who do it where it's like an actual resource that I can download, and it's like a literal worksheet or a literal sheet itself, and you can have a look at it and you can go, oh right, this is how I get them to do design thinking in DT, or this is how I get them to think about maths in this, get them to do the 3D printing task and then assess it. So, I mean, it's awesome like that.
And they can all be reused and stuff as well. So you can fit them in where they need to be, or not use them. Some of them are very structured projects, but then there's others that are just like, here's an activity. For example, we've got something called Object of the Week, and you can 3D print something. And it's like 39 of those, one for each week of the teaching year. You don't need to do it every week, but you can just choose an object. And then there's like 8 standalone activities, and it's all based around creative writing and literacy skills and communication. You know, describe it,
so
describe
if
and
you're
draw
looking for a
it.
new way to kind of do literacy or any of the other curriculum that you've got across your school, and you're thinking, how can I put 3D printing into literacy? It's not commonly thought of, but actually it's really, really good. So there's loads of different ways that it fits. It doesn't just fit in DT.
Because, like I say, if you're using it across all your curriculum subjects, you can tick all your curriculum boxes without it having to sort of like try to shoehorn 3D printing in, but it's still developing the skills for 3D printing. But and getting the benefit from the technology, but across the curriculum. So you're
See,
also ticking all your
I'm using it
curriculum
next
boxes.
year for my resources to do a whole bunch of science resources. So I'm not even just using it I get my kids to use it. We have a very active, if you check on our Twitter, very active museum group, a very active wearables group, a whole bunch of us doing it. But actually, I use it as well for resourcing for teachers. So instead of buying that bit that you wanted to get for the map for tectonic plates in geography, you can just go and print one. And that in itself is kind of useful.
Yeah, and it saves a lot of money as well,
Yeah.
because people are like, oh, well, it's the cost of the 3D printer. But actually, if you can use that 3D printer to just print stuff, the filament
it's
is really,
dirt cheap.
really cheap. And so why spend, let's say, £60-70 on a really nice DNA model?
Yeah.
Then you've got one in the class, it's nice and big, but then if it breaks, you've got to... when actually you could 3D print a nice big one for, sort of less than £10, but actually you can make miniature ones for pennies, literally, less than 10 pence each. And every child can have one that they can touch and feel and they can see how it works. It's better than a diagram, but you've not spent £70 on one model that people haven't got access to. And actually, if it breaks or you lose some of the little ones, they're pennies to reprint, so you just print more. Especially for maths manipulatives. How many times, you think, oh, I want some manipulatives for maths to demonstrate something, but then you buy a class set and then bits get lost.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you can't use the set anymore.
Yeah.
But actually, if you can have them 3D printed, you just print replacements.
But that's one of the things I love from Create is that they hire teachers. They have Sonya as a teacher, and they work dead closely with teachers. So all of your stuff's been thought of from that direction for teachers with a teacher's eye. So and I know that feeling of we got halfway through a lesson and then somebody's broke that model and then you can't fix it and then you're like, oh, and then that doesn't work anymore. So this is a nice way, especially with 3D printing, where you just run them out. So over the summer I'm running out, I think I'm going to run out your lesson of the object of the week, and I'm going to run out a whole bunch of models for all of science, geography, history, art, everybody, and just put them in the classroom. So you don't necessarily have to have it where you organise a whole lesson around 3D printing. No. You can think of it as a use of an entire teaching resource as well, which is really, really good. I've seen 3D printing of test tube stuff as well, test tube racks and things like that. And how much do we spend on kind of resource-based
Exactly.
stuff?
And actually, your 3D printer could save all that money. In fact, it can pay for itself. And quite quickly as well, if you're going to use it. And the models are out there. There's file sharing sites where you can literally just download the models, 3D print them.
But you do a loan scheme as well, don't you? If you want to get used to it and you're not quite committed to getting a printer right away.
Exactly. It's a big step investing in new technology, and if you can't find ways of using it in the classroom and you don't see, it's a very difficult step to take. So I'm going to invest in this technology if you don't really know if it's going to be a success, if people are going to get engaged with it. And actually, it's a minefield. There are good 3D printers and they're not so good 3D printers. Is that model any good?
Yeah,
you don't know till you get it. So what we do is we because we offer free lifetime technical support on all our 3D printers. We actually need to make sure that the 3D printers models that we sell are actually very robust and reliable, especially in a school environment, because otherwise we'd end up having to fix them all for free all the time, which doesn't make good business sense. So we know that they're reliable, but actually you can have confidence because you can just borrow one for a month, totally free of charge.
See how you feel
but that...
Is it familiar coming back? Yeah, go on.
But actually, in itself, that's how we can get new ideas and stuff, because although it's free, we do ask for something in return, and that is you share what you've been doing with us. So you get a 3D printer, you get the printer, the postage, all the materials you need for a month, free of charge. And at the end of that period, we say, what have you been doing with it? Share with us what you've been doing, because actually this great sort of, it's not just the resources that we produce, create branded resources, but we share resources that other teachers have done. And then we're not asking you to share a resource. You might in that month's time not be able to produce a resource,
but you might want to work a blog or some pictures and show us what you're doing.
Show us what you're doing, because actually by putting that on our blog, other schools and other teachers can see what's happening in their classroom, and they can take their ideas and say, oh, that's a great idea, I really want to try that with my students, or that's a great idea, but I want to change it slightly to do it like this.
Yeah.
And that all then feeds
Leads in.
into it, so that you've got this huge community of practice. And it may be at the end of the month you say, well, actually, we've tried this, it might not work for our school. Well, guess what? You've not wasted any money.
Yeah.
You've wasted some of your time, you've tried it, you know, the kids have experienced it, because it's all about building skills for the future. You know, there's going to be a lot of jobs in additive manufacturing, and we're not
Huge
saying we want to
growth
push
industry.
people into those jobs, but we want to give them choice. We need them to experience the technology that's out there and some of the jobs that can come off of that, and actually engage them and think, well, actually, that could be a career path for me.
Some of the research that we've been doing down at Spark has been showing that they're very switched on when we do the 3D printing. Our entire school is. And on top of that, I think ours is very specific to that industry for kind of careers, because it's going to be worth 20 billion, soon.
Exactly.
And if you don't have that kind of eye on getting those young people invested in it now, then they may miss out on that opportunity.
Yeah, and it's about developing skills. I mean,
Problem
ultimately,
skills,
the
problem thinking skills,
curriculum is central to all, teaching and learning, but that curriculum isn't always fit for purpose of industry, and we hear that time and time again from industry leaders. And the big thing is how do we prepare our students for life after school? You know, how do we prepare them for the jobs of the future without developing skills? Well,
on a proper teacher note, on that Ofsted to new criteria, go check out that personal development section, section 2. It sits in that beautifully. So having a 3D printer come in and do a bit of sessions on that does sit in that critical thinking technology and use of problem solving, resilience, things like that are in the personal development section of the new Ofsted criteria. So it's really useful to have it, even if you're thinking to yourself, well, where would I put it? Well, actually, it ticks that second box. And to be honest, for us, we're all looking at ways of encouraging and having that skill curriculum, knowledge-based curriculum going forward. So actually it's a great one for that bit.
And the skills, there's so many transferable skills. It's not just about 3D printing things like bits of plastic. The design skills, I mean, you're touching across maths, your science, your design technology, and they're, but you're actually developing those 3D design and modelling skills. And even if you don't go into the 3D printing industry, there's the whole industry is based around.
Well, they use it in
3D modelling, virtual game design,
virtual reality.
Industry.
We use them in games design, in virtual reality. We use them in augmented reality. All those Marvel films that you've seen, that's 3D modelling.
Do you know what actually I've... Coming back to that, I did watch Captain Marvel, and we were waiting for the spoiler at the end, the extra bit, and we sat there watching the credits for over 10 minutes. And what astounded me was the sheer number of names next to all the 3D jobs. Hundreds for just one film, and the film industry is huge. So there's all the games design industry, and it's all 3D now. So actually teaching those skills, and if you can embed it into your curriculum, so that it's ticking a load of maths boxes, and you can do some creativity and stuff, and some art and some design technology and some science. And,
it's great.
You're actually developing those skills at the same time. And one of the resources we've produced is a special sort of knowledge and skills progression for 3D printing, so that what you can do is develop your own curriculum and say, well, I can put 3D printing in here, here, and here,
which is what I'm.
But you can tick the boxes that are required for industry to go into the jobs. And actually, if you can give certification to the students to say that they've got these skills at this level, and at this level, that is an extra part of their sort of
offer
portfolio, what they can offer to industry when they leave school, as well as their exam results and
which is
grades and
again so on. That section of our personal development are going on to ensure that our young people are prepared for the world that they're going forward to. So I figured we'd do a quick chat, so I'm going to round, because me and you have been at this all day. We've been geeking out all day working on a master plan for things that we're doing in the future, so we'll probably have a chat again. I might come up to Create and have a chat with you, actually, because nobody's seen Create yet. So they've seen Spark. This will be the second time you've seen Spark, but it might be nice actually if I nip up there and chum round.
Yeah.
Wicked.
Brilliant.
Which case, see you all later. Bye.